This is Barbara Ellistad with Mesquite Local Newspaper, and we're here this morning with Leo Black, who is running for City Council in the upcoming 2011 elections in April. So good morning, Leo.
Good morning.
Could you give us a short synopsis of your background?
Sure can. I've been coming to Mesquite since the early 70s when I used to go hunting back on the Strip and fell in love with the place, frankly. That was in the days when if you needed gasoline and you didn't get back here by 5 o'clock, you couldn't get it. So I remember Mesquite when it was really a neat little farm town, and that was it. Been coming out here since. Finally was able to escape Las Vegas and move here, and I love the little town. It's really sweet, and I've got my practice in my home here, and I intend to live here for the rest of my life.
Okay. What do you bring to the table that would compel someone to vote for you in the election?
I hope common sense. There's so much stuff that's going on in government. All you have to do is watch what's happening with a lot of the cities now, for instance in Wisconsin, where we've got senators off hiding out instead of doing their job. We've got essentially a controlled riot in the street. And I don't want to see that type of stuff get spread out. The entire country is a microcosm of what's going on there. And if we don't start paying attention and making some hard decisions pretty quick, we're going to have a train wreck. And essentially what it is you change oil in order to prevent changing engines. We've got some oil that's way past due changing, and the engine's going to fall out pretty quick. So I would much rather do it now rather than later.
Okay. What specific areas should the City Council focus on in regards to improving the relationship between the existing business community and City Hall?
Get the hell out of the way. The city has come to the conclusion in some instances where I feel like sometimes the council feels like that the city was a success because of them. That the city or any economic entity is a success because of government efforts. Okay, if that's the case, I would suggest that we take the entire group of them and move them to the center of Antarctica and let them make a success there. The success does not come from government. Government, in the words of Ronald Reagan, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, Reagan, pardon me, government is not the solution to our problems, government is the problem. So essentially I would like the government to do benign neglect to business, get the hell out of the way and let people do stuff. This town's not business friendly, and that has to change.
Okay, can you be a little more specific about how you would help change it if you were on the council?
If I were on the council, I would like to see policy be that if you went in for a building permit, for instance, 3 days and it's done. It's either done or rejected. It's in or out. Streamline the bureaucracy. A lot of times we get tied up in the process and we forget what we started out to do. You know, your purpose was to drain the swamp, and suddenly you discover you're up to your ass in alligators.
Okay.
Pardon me, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but that's me.
Okay. How would you work to attract new businesses to Mesquite if you were elected to council?
Yeah, once again, get out of the way. I heard something brilliant last night. Governments are famous for spending tons and tons and tons of money trying to attract business, trying to get some stuff going on. The big thing right now, for instance, is the green business thing. Spain has tried that, and it's bankrupting the country. You can't build enough windmills. There's not enough jobs in that. Furthermore, what a lot of people don't understand, and if you talk to some of the engineers who's doing the work in that area, those windmills, once you build one, you never recapture the energy that it took to build the thing by the time you smelt the steel, do all that stuff. So anyway, get out of the way. I apologize. I can get long-winded on things on occasion.
Okay. What kind of economic base do you think fits Mesquite best? Is it golfing? Is it gaming? Is it tourism? What do you think fits Mesquite best?
It's the natural process that you have. If you live on the seacoast that is full of lobsters, probably farming wheat is not your thing. We live in an area that doesn't have a lot of natural resources other than an outstanding transportation corridor and laws that allow gaming, for instance. That's what actually caused Mesquite to be Mesquite. On top of that, we've got weather that's unbelievable for the folks who have to live in snow country and thank you, Lord, I was born here and I don't have to. But those two things are probably our largest economic base. We need to allow those who know what they're doing with the business and are prepared to put their own money into things to make things happen, to do those things as best we can. The other thing we need to do is to allow those with vision who come in and think about things. For instance, there was somebody who wanted to do a shrimp farm here several years ago. As it happens, they've done it in North Las Vegas and are doing quite well with it. And we could have had it. So we need to pay attention to those things that can be done that will work out. I'm not advocating that we rape and pillage the environment, because that's nonsense.
Okay.
Nobody wants to spoil your own nest. But what I'm saying is, you can't make eggs without breaking an omelet. You just don't have to break all of them. And the ones you do break, you need to break very, very carefully and make sure that they're done correctly. But at the same time, you need to get out of the way and let people who are gonna make the economy happen, make it happen.
Okay. It's probable that Mesquite will see fewer dollars coming from the state-controlled tax collections in the next few years. How would you soften the impact of this reduction on the city's budget?
Yeah, it's a tough one. But the good news is there's been some extraordinary work done on that budget, looking really, really hard at what's going on. One problem the city's had is people who have been in business themselves know what it's like to struggle, to try to make something happen, to not get a paycheck for months, to put everything you own on the line, watch it go away, and have debt that you have to pay off. I've done that. That does not happen. The people who have not had that experience don't know what it's like to make a tough decision. To tell your kids, sorry, you're not going to private school this year. You're not getting this lesson. You're not doing those things that you wanted to do. And just like every single family, just like every single one of us that have to do that are paying the bills, the city has to make that corporate decision.
Any specific areas of the budget that you would look at the hardest?
There's several areas. For instance, the city council. I would suggest that we start with the managers, because that's where it got it happen. And guess who's the biggest managers we own? The city council. City council budget is pretty darn big. I would start first with a 10% cut in pay for the city council. But something I just discovered last night because of the efforts of Mike Young, who's been going through the budget with a fine-tooth comb, there's more to that city council than just that stipend.
Okay.
They get $400 a month for cars. That's more than I used to spend on gas to operate my whole family all month doing everything I do. So sorry, $400 a month is too much for the city to be spending on gas.
Okay.
So I'd cut that way back. The other thing is, and I have not looked into this, and I've got to look in deeper because it's there. Apparently, the city council also gets a perk of city-paid health insurance.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's really interesting, and I don't want to say too much. Let me say this about that, though. If that is true, that stops now, because a health insurance policy for somebody costs $6,000 or $8,000.
Yes.
So on top of the $14,000 they're getting, they're making 8 plus 4 plus 5, it's $25,000 by the time the smoke clears, and that's where we're getting in trouble. It's salaries. The salaries are okay. You can live on the salaries. It's the dang perks. When an employee that's making $50,000 a year actually costs you $75,000, you got to look at that. You got to look hard. And there are other areas where savings can be made.
Okay.